Welcome to another episode of eBay the Right Way. This is episode number 44, and today's date is January 19th, 2022. Today's guest is Tammi, who is a longtime eBay seller and a fighter in all aspects of life. She shares with us a major health crisis that she survived and how she kept her eBay business running in the background. Before we get started, we're going to do a quick calendar check-in. So, students, take a look at your 12 months of eBay calendar. And on today's date, January 19th, is the question, what is your favorite category to sell in? And there's a couple of blanks under there, so you can fill that in. The reason I asked this question was to get you thinking about your business. What do you like to do? What brings you joy? What kinds of things do you like to work on where you just lose track of time? Because that's an indication that you are in the flow and you're doing something you love. And it doesn't feel like work. And maybe you want to change some things this year and focus more on those items that you love working with, and maybe let some of those items that you don't like so much fall to the wayside so that you really enjoy working on your business every day. And it's not like a chore that, oh, I got to go list those things. When you shift the focus to doing what you really love, it's just not like work. And you're in the flow and you're going to be more successful. Make sure you fill in those blanks so that you have a record of what you're doing now. And as your business evolves, you can look back at these calendar pages and see how you transformed your business into something that you really, really love to do. Okay, let's get into the chat with Tammi. Today, we have Tammi with us, who is a longtime eBay seller and has lots of wisdom to share. How are you doing today, Tammi?
Hi, Suzanne. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm great. It's so good to see you again. We did a YouTube interview in 2018. So
Hard to believe it's 2018.
It's been almost 4 years and a lot's changed, hasn't it?
Yes, it has.
Which we're going to get into all that. Tell everybody where you're located.
Okay, I live in Akron, Ohio. Started selling on eBay about 2005, 2006.
Yes, and I made the trip to Akron, Ohio. I think it was 2017. We had a lovely lunch with some other sellers at the wonderful Olive Garden.
Yes.
And I think our meeting lasted like 4 hours. It was great.
It was great to connect with you and all the other resellers that were there.
And I think some of y'all from that lunch are still in touch with each other.
We are. Yeah, we are.
Good. Okay. Well, as I ask everyone, let's talk about how you got involved in eBay at the very beginning.
Okay. A friend of mine, I'm a nurse, and I was working night shift, and one of my coworkers was on eBay shopping, and I have never heard of eBay before. And so she explained what it was, and I had a Harley at the time, and I customized it. So I had all these extra Harley parts. So I decided to join eBay to sell them. So that's what I did. That was the first few things I've sold on eBay. And then I got hooked. It was really fun. I thought I could probably sell this or that. And I kind of, over the years, have sold quite a bit on eBay. So.
Now, when we talked in 2018, you mentioned you went to like live auctions and bought box lots. Are you still doing that?
Not anymore. The auction house I used to go to, the gentleman who owns it is now in politics. So his auction house is still there, but I don't think it's active. And a lot of those folks have transitioned to online auctions. And I've gone and I've purchased a couple things here and there. I don't need to purchase anything because still have a lot of inventory, but sadly, but the prices I think are way higher than what I used to buy things for. I could buy tables full of merchandise for $2. So, and I still have that. So,
So you are set. So when COVID
yes,
hit and we had the lockdown, you just went to your basement? Where's your stuff
yes,
stored?
yeah, it's all organized in bins. So whenever I have time between my real job or my full-time job, I should say, I grab a bin and put a movie on and start listing. And then I take during commercials or whatever, take the pictures. So yeah, I've got plenty so I can go shopping in my own house.
Yeah, that's my routine for listing. I gotta have something else going on. It's since I've been doing it so long, and you probably feel the same, it's kind of mindless.
Yeah.
Most things we've listed before, something like it, and it's just really data entry. You don't have to think about it a lot.
Right.
So it's kind of a relaxing time for me because I do it on my laptop and I've got a movie going, and I just kind of make a nice environment so that I don't get in a rush. Just kind of do it.
No, I enjoy it. It's my happy time. It's de-stressing. I can
Right.
forget about everything else. Yeah.
Now, you're a nurse. Do you mind sharing what kind of nursing you do?
Oh, sure. I used to be working in the critical care area and decided that I was no longer um, really suited for that. So I left that about 3 years ago, and now I work for an orthopedic hospital. And I screen patients who are in need of surgeries like total joint surgeries or carpal tunnel, or we also do plastic surgeries, facelifts, augmentations, things like that. So I have a wonderful job with a wonderful leadership team. And I see patients, I do blood draws, and we make sure they have an EKG, and I screen them for their health to make sure they're healthy enough to have surgery. And if there's any red flags or anything, I go talk to anesthesia, and then we make sure that they're safe for surgery. So it's lovely. It's very, very easy.
It seems a
So
lot less stressful than
it
critical
is.
care.
Yes, and it's day shift. I used to work nights, and
I
it's day
remember
shift.
that. Yeah, because
Yeah.
you would go on the Facebook group and comment and like things, and it would have the time next to it. And I'm like, gosh, she's up at 3 a.m. doing this. She's so dedicated. Or maybe bored at
Yeah.
work.
Yes. Yeah. In between patient care.
And I
Yeah.
remember you sold a lot of beer signs.
I did. For whatever reason, at the auction house, I could get them and they were cheap. And I still have 2 bins full. And I have a couple large beer signs that shipping them is difficult, but I can do it. I have to just price it right. I'm going to work on those. I have 3 very cool ones. I'm going to rephotograph them, package them, and then list them, because I'll tell you, it's a nightmare to list something when it sells if it's not packaged. I like to do those difficult items first. So
Yeah, get those off your plate. But it's
yeah,
hard to leave them behind when you know how much money you can make.
I know. You're right.
So thinking back, what was your highest priced item that you've ever sold?
Uh,
Or a few, because you may not have.
there's been several. Like $200 and $300 range. I had a dollhouse. I think I sold for over 300 one time. A metal dollhouse, plain, and I think I paid $5 for it. One cool thing, I was at Goodwill, and this man's coat stuck out at me, and I thought, gosh, that looks different. And I purchased it just on a gut instinct. I had never heard of the label before. I think it was called Goki or something like that. So I brought it home, took it to the dry cleaners, because I'm kind of like you. I have to have everything clean before I send it out to a new owner. And when I did my research, it was an original Abercrombie and Fitch label before they changed names. And I sent it to a buyer in London for $275, I believe it was. It was some kind of a cool hunting jacket. So that was fun, even though, my net profit was a little over, like probably 180, something like that. And then I've sold typewriters for good money. I've sold coffee mugs. I went to a yard sale after working all night. This was crazy. When Fire King was pretty popular. And this family had 100 Fire King mugs. 100. They were never used. They were displayed in this man's home. And my heart stopped because they had the jadeite ones. They had the dark amber, and those were kind of pricey. So I said, well, how much would you like for all your coffee mugs? And they sold them all to me for $0.25 a piece. So for $25.
Oh my gosh.
I know. So I called my boyfriend and he came and helped me package them and take them home. And within a week or so, I made my money back just on a few mugs. Some of them sold for like $65 a piece. So
yeah, those were a big thing in the early days of eBay, but it seems to have tapered off unless
it has
one of the BOLOs like the Snoopy Red Baron or the old Dunkin' Donuts. I mean, there's a few, but I've never found a jadeite.
Oh, they're out there.
I always look for them, and I have found a few just plain Fire King, but they didn't go for very much. So I always look for that Snoopy Red Baron.
Oh, I do too. I sent a lot of them to Japan at the time. So there were some collectors over there. They went to California to a freight forwarder, I think.
Right. Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of that going on. So I don't know why the Japanese are such big collectors, because there are certain things like the old hidden Mickey bears. Those used to always go to Japan in the early days when people were just figuring out that those sold like for $600, $900, over $1,000 even.
Wow.
Those like the purple hidden Mickey, like the rare ones where there weren't very many made. It was like a Valentine or the mint green, some of those. And I think that market's kind of died down a little bit too, but it is interesting to see where things go.
I've never found one of those. I keep looking, but
yeah, maybe one day. Well, at least we know to look for them.
Correct. Yes.
Do you do much plush?
Now and then. I don't really know that much about plush. I do have your BOLO book.
Oh, yay!
So when I'm out, I take it with me so I can review. I've sold a few pieces, but nothing to speak of, nothing like some of our viewers have.
Right. And I think next year, well, now this year, 2022 BOLO book is going to have more of that.
Oh, good.
It's going to have all different things. So like the 2021 will still be relative because it won't be that old, but I learn like 5 new things every day. It's really like information overload. And so I have all these spreadsheets with everything. Oh, I need to talk about this and do that. And it's just hard to keep up with.
Well, that thread of yours, the Money Making Mondays, oh my gosh. I mean, I could spend hours just reading. I'm so amazed at the things that sell and how much things I've never heard of. Things I've walked right past, I'm sure.
Things that you were like, really? That sells for that much? Yeah. I didn't know that. And like, why? I would love to survey buyers and just ask them, why did you buy this? And make some kind of report that explains why people buy all these really strange things. But I honestly think that some buyers don't even know how much they're going to pay for something until they see it. Like, oh, I've been looking for this lunchbox for 10 years. And then it shows up online for $500 on eBay and they just pay it.
Yeah.
And maybe they weren't going to pay it, but nostalgia makes you do all kinds of things.
It sure does.
Spend all kinds of money. Now, do you do much clothing?
Very little. More shoes, men's shoes than clothing. I still have pieces and I need to go through my inventory one thing I do need to do is inventory, because in pulling items to ship, I've discovered some of the things I think are listed aren't listed. And some of those are pieces of clothing that I've had listed, but they're not on eBay anymore. So a friend had given me a lot of Talbot's clothing to sell that was new with tag. And I'm going to have to pull those out, rephotograph them. But no, it's not really something I'm interested in. And I think with like men's shoes are pretty easy to sell. They're easy to polish. And I've, knock on wood, never had a return. So
it is a glitch on eBay that listings drop off.
okay.
This has been a thing ever since I've been selling. Well, ever since they've had fixed price that you could just leave it there. And nobody knows why. So I do, quote, try to take inventory twice a year just to make sure that everything is listed, because I don't know what happens, but things drop off or things that you sold show up as active.
Oh, I haven't had that happen.
A quantity of one, and it, like, how is this still active? I remember shipping that.
Mm-hmm.
So eBay's not perfect, and I don't think there's anything we can do to prevent this. I think it's the older listings that keep turning over. If you don't go in and touch them up, or, you know, refresh them or change the keywords or something like that, it just drops off. So I wonder, on people who have thousands of listings, how many of them, of the items in their storage, like, aren't even listed and can't sell. Because I sure would not want to do inventory on like 5,000 items.
No, I have no desire to get that big.
And how many things do you keep listed normally?
Right now I've got around 380. I'd like to get back up to 500, because 500 seemed to be a magic number for me. It seems like the sales were more frequent, but I'm content right now with what I have going on. So,
which we can talk about what you have going on, because you have been through living hell the last 2 years, and I see you as such a strong person. You just kept going, and that's one reason I wanted to reconvene and talk again after 4 years, so that maybe you can share what happened to you, because it could happen to anybody. And that's the beauty of eBay, is you can put it aside, you can slow down. Whenever you feel like it, you can shut your store off completely, because life happens and you have to deal with it.
It does. Yeah. So in July of 2019, I was getting ready to go to Las Vegas to eBay Open again. And I had this nagging feeling not to go. So I hadn't had a mammogram for a while, and I canceled my trip. I got the mammogram and I was diagnosed with breast cancer. I went through surgery, chemo. The chemo nearly killed me, literally. And then I was down for 4 months, like very, very ill. And then I recovered from that. And then I got thyroid cancer. They found the thyroid cancer. I know. I caught COVID between there. I had COVID pneumonia. And when they did a CAT scan of my lungs, they found the tumor on my thyroid. So that's how I found the thyroid cancer. So I had that removed. But that was a pretty simple procedure. And then a few months go by and I got COVID again, but I was okay. So it just, all of that happening within a 2-year time frame really took a hit on my physical being. So I'm still recovering. I'm working. I look fine. People, you know, I don't look sick, thankfully.
And yes, she looks fabulous for having been through that battle.
Oh, thank you.
You look great.
My biggest thing is fatigue. And I'm working on that. You know, I'm trying to exercise and eat better, you know, but I'm still working my full-time job. And because I'm so tired sometimes, I only have so much time to spend on eBay. But the beautiful thing is, like we've talked about, eBay is something you can slow down and you can pause, and then you can like binge list is how I call it, schedule listings. And that's what I've been doing for the last couple of years. And it's working for me. I mean, I'm not making near the money I did, but I'm still making money. So
Yeah, and we talked about things just kept selling even though you weren't listing. So
yes.
you still had that income, and
Yeah.
that's the part I like is if you don't put your store on vacation, or what do they call it now, time away, you can just let that perpetuate, and it just kind of takes on a life of its own, and things just keep selling even though you're not listing.
Yeah, that was a blessing for me. My son-in-law is a eBay reseller also. He specializes in toys and he's very successful. And God bless him, he and his wife and daughter came over and listed 100 items for me during my time of illness, and it kind of revived my store. So that was a huge, huge blessing.
Wow, that was amazing. Like
Yeah.
what a gift.
It was fun. I mean, everyone had their laptops and I was making coffee and I was trying to help too. I was cleaning items and, we had a system going and it was great. It was a fun day.
So you have your stockpile of stuff.
Yes.
Do you even care to estimate how many things you have that are not listed?
Oh, it's embarrassing, Suzanne.
No, it's not, because, well, it came in handy during your situation
it did come in handy,
illness.
so.
And maybe,
Yeah.
I don't even know how to ask, like, was it weeks or months that you just didn't even touch it?
Oh, it was at least 2 months. I didn't even touch it. Not at all. And then if I sold something, George would grab it and pull it and ship it for me, my boyfriend. I probably have everything is organized in totes. And I have most things like I have a lot of ephemera. I have vintage cameras. It's all sorted that way so that when I do the listings, it's easier. I probably have 40 bins of merchandise. So I have quite a bit.
So maybe 1,000 things.
Probably. Yeah.
Okay.
I have a little area in my garage, and then I have shelving in my basement, and that's where it's at.
Well, and that's one reason a death pile isn't so bad.
It's really not. Yeah.
And I've heard this before from people who live in areas that get all this severe weather where, they don't leave their house for a month, maybe, except to run to the grocery store, and they just work through their pile.
Yeah.
First time I heard that, one lady lived in Bowling Green, Kentucky, and apparently they get a lot of snow there, or she said they did wherever she lived. And she said that her eBay money bought a shed so that for her to store her inventory. So she went to garage sales all summer and just filled up her shed. And so on bad weather days, all she had to do was take about 10 steps through the snow to grab some things to list. And she just would keep going. So being in the South, we don't have that problem. But having all that inventory where you can just work on it when life gets crazy, you don't have to worry about getting more. And of course, the way you were buying it at the
I paid
auction,
hardly nothing. Yeah. Right. I mean, it was really inexpensive. So, and I kept buying it. And at the time, George is like, honey, we already have all this stuff. And I'm like, but how can I turn it down for $2? I mean, I was buying posters of like Goodyear Aerospace, like vintage posters and all kinds of really cool stuff. I said, I can't leave it behind. So I did it.
And I don't know if you heard the chat with George Kelly, but he does the same thing. And he only has about 50 items listed at a time just because that's the way he likes it. But when he goes to these estate sale buyouts or flea market buyouts, it is kind of an all or nothing situation. So he just gets the stuff and a lot of it gets redonated. But you mentioned going to Goodwill, and I would think, recovering from this kind of illness and chemo that affects your immune system, like you wouldn't want to go into those dirty places.
I don't now. That was back in the day. Once in a while, when I go to the doctor, it's kind of far away. about an hour away. So I can write off the mileage. We'll stop at a thrift store.
Mm-hmm.
And if I do run into a Goodwill to purchase a little coffee mug or something, I mean, I wear a mask and gloves. And I don't wear gloves, but I wash my hands. But I don't spend a lot of time in there because I want to stay healthy still. So,
Oh, I can imagine you just protect your health, and
yeah,
life is very different after going through all of that.
it is.
Your health and your immune system is already compromised. So it's a hard world to live in right now.
It is, but I think it's on the plus side. I'm hoping people are taking better care of themselves and protecting their immune system. I don't think people really did before. They didn't think about washing their hands or, you know, I don't know. I like
Well,
to
we
think.
we kind of had a little chat before we started recording, and we were talking about that health video I made
Yeah,
2019 or 20, something like that. And a lot of the foods I eat, I intentionally eat them because they are immune system boosters, like raw unfiltered honey and avocados and blueberries and goji berries and all those that have antioxidants. And you really can do a lot with your diet if you intentionally choose the foods that boost your immune system and avoid the ones that kill it, like all those fried foods. It's not like frying in oil. It's the oil is so toxic. It's been in that same fryer for a week and they hardly ever change it. So it just keeps getting cooked and worse and more unhealthy. You fry something in butter or olive oil, like at home in a skillet, that's very different than French fries at Wendy's.
it sure is. Oh, yeah. And I stay away from processed foods
Yeah.
as much as possible.
Yeah. And once you stop eating them, they don't taste good anymore.
It's not real food.
Well, I mean, it's like I used to just love French fries, and that's not great for somebody who's trying to reverse type 2 diabetes. You don't want to eat potatoes, but I don't think about them anymore. So back to what you said about, immune system is compromised. I mean, there's a lot of ways you can address that on your own at home. And I think you're right. Before COVID, people just didn't really think about that. And it's so strange how some people get it and some people don't.
Right.
Vaccinated or not. It's like, how do you explain that? And it's the same household. It's just really strange. And I haven't had it, and I go to the filthiest places on the planet called thrift stores. Very dirty. So I don't know. I guess we're just gonna have to see how all that pans out. We just keep waiting. I'm waiting for the endemic.
I am too. I pray for that every day. I'm thinking, is the Omicron the answer to the endemic? I hope.
I'm so sick of just everything revolving around this, and let's get back to living our lives without all this mess to think about. It's just everywhere. And let's just go back to 2019.
Yes.
When nobody cared.
Right.
Do you consider yourself recovered, or what is it, remission? How do you say that?
I do. Yeah, I'm cancer free today. Every day is a gift, Suzanne. So yes, I feel recovered. I am cancer free. So yeah.
Do you look at life differently now?
Absolutely. Yeah. That's why I'm pursuing some other things I want to do. Before all this, I was volunteering with victims of human trafficking. And I had to quit that because of the medical things I was going through. And I want to go back to that because it's really near and dear to my heart, is getting out there and volunteering and talking to these young girls that are working in strip clubs. And I want to try to help them. There's a ministry in my town that works to help these young ladies. So I want to do more meaningful things. And I feel like that is pretty meaningful. And the other thing I've done is I completed my real estate education. I want to sell real estate and eventually try to tie that into reselling with eBay and transition out of nursing. I love where I work, and that'll be down the road. I won't be doing that for a couple of years, but I want to be my own boss. But at the present time, I need health insurance because I don't think I'm insurable until I can get Medicare. So,
yeah,
so I'll be working for
that's
a while.
a few years away. Medicare.
Yeah. So,
you're a Gen Xer, aren't you?
baby boomer.
Oh, you are? What year were you born?
1960. So,
Oh, wow. I didn't realize that. I thought you were more close to my age. So you're at the tail end of the baby boomers.
Yes.
Yeah. Right. Well, but that comes in handy with reselling.
It does.
You remember all these things you saw growing up.
Mm-hmm. My friend, her mother-in-law just passed away, and she came to me and she basically gave me the contents of her house, furniture, things like that. And a lot of it, and I'm going to be selling it, but a lot of it was stuff my grandma had. And I'm like, oh yeah, I know about that. I know about this. I left some of it behind. It was too big, but I have some really nice pieces I'll be selling. So that knowledge, you're right. It's really come in handy.
Yeah. And I think there's a huge wave of boomers who are approaching retirement age simply to get their pensions or whatever they get that are transitioning into eBay because they have all the stuff. I've been saying this for 15 years. They have all the stuff. They have the knowledge about the stuff. They have enough computer skills to do it. Like you don't have to be a wizard on the computer to do eBay. You can figure out the basics. You can do it. And I just think it's fun. It's a fun distraction from life. And it is so flexible. So it is the perfect situation for a pre-retiree, retiree, because your generation is changing what retirement looks like. It's not just sitting around at home knitting and waiting for people to call you.
Oh. No, I have no idea. Like, I want to be out there working and hustling and selling pretty homes and also treasure hunting for eBay. I'm looking forward to not working a regular full-time job.
Right. And not having to be at work at 5 a.m.
Right. Yeah. I get up at 4 to go to work, and it's brutal some days.
I don't know how to do that. I haven't had to do that in so long.
It's rough.
I feel very blessed. Once my kids were out of high school and I didn't have to get up. Well, I chose to get up with them. And like their bus would come at 6:30 and that was hard. I'm just not a morning person. That's every single day when I wake up, I'm like this morning, I saw you testing out the Zoom login like at 7:30. And I was like, oh, wow, she's on it. She's going to be ready. And so I went back to sleep for a while, just laid in bed for 15 minutes, read my phone, read my email, did a few things, and okay, I'll get up now. And you're going to have that luxury soon.
I'm looking forward to it.
Unless you're so ingrained in getting up at 4 that you can't change it.
Yeah. Sleeping in until 5 is sleeping in for me. So.
Oh my Lord.
Yeah.
Well, and transitioning to real estate, you will have access to homes that have stuff left behind, or, someone had to go to assisted living and they didn't have time to pack everything up. I see this all the time. I have realtors contacting me all the time. The ones that contact me want me to sell the stuff for them, which I don't want to get involved in. I was like, nope, I've got this online school. You can learn how to do it, and then you can do it whenever you want. But that happens all the time now, is these homes are sold and the stuff just isn't moved out.
My friend is a broker and she has her own company, and she's contacted me a few times about, a home that's filled with stuff. The family doesn't want it. do I want it? And, I would love to take it, but that would require getting a warehouse or something. And I'm not ready to do that. But in the foreseeable future, I think that would be a possibility. Possibly. It depends on the house and the contents, of course, but she runs into it all the time.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, it's just a thing now. The grown children don't want the stuff.
Mm-mm.
And I've been through that with my parents, that something sentimental to them, like a big Victorian style couch. It's like, I don't want that. They're not comfortable. And that was your mother's couch. So you're emotionally attached to it, but I don't have to be. So, yeah, it's just, I think people don't know what to do with it. So they
don't.
And they would have to rent a dumpster, or the time and effort it takes to go through everything. They just say, heck with it. Just leave it in the house.
Yeah, my friend was overwhelmed. She said, I've got to get this stuff out of here, because they want to sell the house, the one whose mother-in-law just passed away. She's like, I don't care. Just take it. She was just giving me all this stuff. So I was happy to take it.
It's like a blessing and a curse.
It is, right? Because there's a lot of jewelry. I don't know a thing about jewelry. So there's that. So I thought about lotting things up and selling them that way, so I'm not sitting on it forever.
Well, what are your favorite things to sell?
Oh, goodness. I like to sell vintage. Vintage kind of grabs my heart. Like the old typewriters, I enjoy. I've got some games. Games are easy. Got some books. Of course, books are kind of slow right now. I don't do that well. George bought a entire garage full of models from a guy, like wood ship models. And I don't remember what he paid, $30, $40. I mean, just tons of them. And I've sold those. I mean, people enjoy those. Have repeat customers because of that. So people are still looking for things to do, like especially this time of year. So I sold one the other day, and this other guy's he's gonna buy the other one I have. I don't know. Anything. I can sell anything. I just,
Speaking of this
enjoy
time
that.
of year, did you get slammed with snow?
Hardly any, which I can't believe. It's cold, but we've only had a dusting. So I'm thankful, because the drive to work is farther now. So, and I'm not crazy about driving in the snow, but no, it's nothing compared to what I'm used to, not
Well,
at
I've been
all.
seeing people's Facebook pictures of just how much snow they got in different parts of the country. And of course, here in Georgia, it was 75 degrees on Christmas Day. And
Oh, nice.
and then we had that for a few days. And then all of a sudden the high was 28.
Wow.
Just so weird. I hope we get some snow this year, because it's fun to look at for one day. And
Yeah,
then it's enough for us in Georgia. Okay. International.
Oh,
Shipping international.
so sadly, I need to review that course, but I do use the global shipping program. And in 1 week, I sold like 9 items 1 week, and then I had a dead week. And then the next week I had all international buyers, which I thought was really crazy. But I had Italy, France, Germany, and 2 people in Australia all in 1 week. And I thought that was pretty exciting. So I need to do my own international shipping, though, because I'm sure it'll help move the sales.
Well, since you've been out of the loop, that eBay Standard International, it's another choice, and it's eBay's version of First Class International, where it's still under that umbrella that you get insurance and eBay's responsible if it breaks or gets lost. But with global shipping, everything's priority. But with this eBay Standard International, it's up to 66 pounds at the First Class International rate. So you could offer both.
Oh, okay. I guess I didn't realize that.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be either or. Yeah, that came out during the time you were probably focused on other things. Yeah. Okay. So what kind of things do you hate selling? But like we all have those things, we get them anyway. And it's like, oh, why did I buy this? I really don't want to ship it or whatever.
I
But
know.
the money's there, so you do it.
The breakables, which I just did it again. I got some Pyrex. But like, why did I buy
I
this?
know it's like
Because
you're it's like this dynamic. You're Gemini in the store, you're like getting everything you can make money on. And then
yeah.
at home, you're like the practical person that's like, why did I do this?
I've got 4 pieces on my kitchen counter that are going to get listed today. I thought, why did I do this? It costs money for the peanuts. It costs money for the bubble wrap. I mean, I'm not really thinking it through. So I'm going to get away from that once I get that listed and out of here. I did sell this crazy cigarette stand, vintage cigarette stand. I think the gentleman paid like $70 for it. And it was a gift. Somebody just gave it to me. And Suzanne, it took me a good hour to package it because it was so tall and awkward. And I was Frankenboxing things alone. And that's not always easy.
Well, and
But
it probably didn't come apart. It was just all one piece.
it was all one piece. So I wrapped the glass part real well. And I prayed over that box because I thought, man, I hope this gets there. And I use UPS frequently. I think for the bigger items, it's less expensive. And then I usually make quite a bit of money on the postage if I do that. So thankfully, it made it there in good order and he left me great feedback. So, but I thought, never again. I'm going to spend my time wrestling an ashtray. So,
Yeah, I found some Pioneer Woman drinking glasses, and they were very heavy. And I looked them up in the store because some of that stuff is worth money, not all of it, but
mhm.
and I saw all these listings for like $50, $70, like sold. So I think these were 25 cents a piece. So I went ahead and got them. And I get home, one of them is cracked. I'm not going to sell that one. Just, I don't want the hassle. So then the set was only 5. It's like, yeah, that's an odd number, but I'm going to list them anyway. And so I put, I don't know, like 49 on them. And I got all these really low offers. And I just kept thinking about it. I don't really like these. I don't really want to ship these. So my daughter saw them and she's like, oh, I love those. I'm like, you can have them.
Problem
You can
solved.
have them. I don't even know why I got those. I just don't want to do that. So, yeah, it happens to everybody. You're 2 different personalities, the
Yeah.
excited thrift store shopper and the practical at home eBay lister and shipper. Okay. You said you started in 2003?
I think it was 2005, somewhere around there,
Okay.
2005. Yeah.
So you started in 2005. You've been selling on eBay. This will be your 17th year. What kind of advice do you have for people who are just getting started or struggling and want to improve?
If they're struggling, they should join your premium library, first of all, because there's so much good information there. I mean, I can't even begin to tell you how it's helped me. And you can listen to those while you're doing other things. So it's not like it takes all your attention, and you're cleaning and you can listen and learn. But there's so much out there to know, and it's all available in your library. And I would say don't give up and, start with the things in your home that you're not using. I mean, it's not difficult. Just start, just keep at it, be persistent. And if you don't know, ask. That Facebook group that you have, Suzanne, is another wonderful resource. There's great people there that know so much. They're so kind and they're so knowledgeable. People are always helping each other with questions and problems. So that's another good resource. But I would say go for it. And then, God forbid something happens, life happens to all of us, you can slow it down and then you can jump right back and get back to where you want your goals to be. It's very flexible.
You are a testament to that you didn't just say, okay, I'm done because I'm sick.
Right.
You got through your illness and picked it back up again. And I can't imagine being just completely out of it for 4 months.
Yeah.
What did you do during that time? Or were you just literally bedridden?
Um, I slept a lot. I was really, really sick. I couldn't eat. I did sleep a lot. And, George practically, he moved in with me until I got strong enough to be by myself, but I couldn't keep food down. I was going to the ER all the time for fluids. It was just a really hard, ugly time. And my neighbors, I have to tell you, I have three amazing neighbors on both sides of me and across the street. They were constantly mowing my lawn, taking the trash to the curb, bringing me soup, bringing George food, just really amazing, people that, God put into my life. And I got through it like one day at a time. And my work was fabulous. They told me just to get better, that my job would be there. So,
That's wonderful.
yeah, I just never gave up.
No, you didn't. I did watch your Facebook posts and saw all the different stages you went through and just prayed for you all the time.
Thank you.
Sometimes on Facebook, you don't know what to say when
Mhm.
someone is sharing something so personal and tragic. And, you just, and I want to ask you, when you were going through that, what, as the patient, like what could people say to you? Other than I'm praying for you and that kind of thing. That just sounds so lame because everybody says that. You have like 500 comments that say the same thing, but I don't, as I've never had a person close to me go through that. So I don't know what to say.
Things that helped me, my high school friends, I'm still close to my high school friends after 50 years almost, would come and spend the night so that George could go home. My one friend stayed a couple nights so he could take a break. That meant the world to me. Cards in the mail meant everything to me because sometimes, people don't know what to say, but just getting that little greeting card, just letting someone know that you're thinking about them. Really, it was just those little acts of kindness really that helped encourage me. So I want to do the same for anybody out there. Gosh, if anyone is going to face something like that, please message me. I'll be glad to share some. There's great websites out there I've learned about. Always get a second opinion, no matter what. But there's a lot of good resources available today. And some of the things, the tricks that got me through, things I drank to help me feel better, I've been through a lot. I'm happy to share that if anyone needs to know. So.
Well, you looked so strong when you were going through it that I think that's just a testament to who you are. And I felt like, she made it and she's going to want to help people.
I do. I want to help anyone
You're
I
already
can.
in the healthcare business where that comes from within. Like not everybody can do that. Not everybody can be around sickness and death and all these tragic things. And you're already wired for that. So I really appreciate you sharing those details because I do think it will help people when they hear this, that you are a survivor and you're a fighter. And the flexibility of eBay, because you said you've got a lot of expenses now. And that's one thing that comes with a serious illness are all the bills you get in the mail after it's over. And
and that's never over because there's always scans you have to have every 6 months. And, so those cost money. And then every year, your deductible starts all over again. So that's why eBay is important too. It's going to help pay for all that because I've got more testing in the future. So
you just need to find a way to get your son-in-law to come over again.
All I have to do is ask him. He'd be right here. God bless him. He's a great guy.
like, okay, it's time for another list-a-thon. When can you come?
Agreed. That's a good
And
idea.
just make it a party.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks for taking the time to talk with me today. I really appreciate it. And we will see you on the Facebook group.
Oh, Suzanne, thank you. It's my pleasure.
Okay.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
That wraps up another episode of eBay the Right Way. And if you don't have your calendar yet, the link is below the podcast. You can grab one of those in my eBay store and join us for future calendar check-ins. I really appreciate you tuning in and listening. I know I say that every time, but I do, because without you, there would be no podcast. So I do appreciate all the listeners out there. And as always, have a profitable, productive, and fun day on eBay. Talk to you next week. Bye.